Are we recording?
We're live with Benny Oliver Jr.
We are live, and welcome back.
Where's your news reporter face?
It's
look at the camera.
Or past the camera.
Oh, past the camera.
Just in such deep
Deep
thought.
thought. Did he actually rest his chin like that on the thing?
Yeah.
I feel like that.
So
thanks for having me back, Benny.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for answering all these questions for me, and welcome back to everyone. And the previous...
Thanks for having us back as well.
Yeah, thanks for having us back. In the previous episode, we talked about metabolism, and we talked about mitochondria functions. I think you remember that one. So that kind of brought me into a question that I'd like to come back. Basically, the food or the nutritional process from taking in nutrition in your body, in your mouth, the process that it goes through all the way down to the cellular function of your body. What is your body actually doing whenever you're taking food? If I eat an apple, if I eat a protein shake, if I eat a hamburger, what is my body doing with that? And what can it use and what can it use? Or what is all being taken into the cell? How does that function? How is that affecting my energy?
Oh, what a question.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were getting into the Krebs Cycle.
See, good. There's a name. The what cycle?
It's Krebs. Essentially, let's just say I want to hit some points that people aren't aware of. But
let's do that.
The mouth is actually considered pre-digestion. Like it's the first step of a digestion, right? Because your saliva starts to break down everything that gets inside of it. Like your saliva starts to dissolve stuff like acid, but really, really, really slowly, right?
Okay.
And it also starts putting bacteria on it and starts breaking stuff down. I just bring that up because people forget that like the chewing process is incredibly important. Like you can't go around just drinking all of your calories, right? Like this is a really important part. In fact, a lot of this will signal to the colon and the intestines like, hey dude, food's about to come down this way, get ready, right? And so like certain things get mechanisms get in play, will create certain hormones, certain cell structures. Though there's two big things to think about when you think about food. Is like the things you can break down and things you can't break down, right? Things you can break down are usually what we ever think about. We think about like macronutrients, micronutrients, all the stuff that we actually use and pull out of it. Yeah. But it's interesting is that stuff that we can't break down is just as important as stuff that we can break down.
Oh, really?
Because that's what fiber is.
Okay.
Fiber is cellulose is this thing that we cannot dissolve and break down. So what it does is it acts like a broom through our intestinal tract because it like everything's like trying to break out. And it's just like a big old barrier, like corn, right? Corn shell is cellulose, and it's like bacteria and acid and everything trying to break at it, and like they're just staying together, flowing through. So it just comes through and just cleans everything out essentially, which is why people want a high fiber diet, like kind of clean out the system, in a not so gross way. So, but it's just as necessary. I don't have too many details on fiber specifics, but there are not all fiber was created equal. Like Dr. Rhonda Patrick of the Found My Fitness show, you all should check this out. She's phenomenal. She's pretty heady though, so you need some kind of science background to follow her. She always talks about like all the different types of fiber and how each one is specific to like just optimizing your immune system and your metabolism and your energy and your everything, right? Wow. So there's a lot of different types for that, and she's kind of the master. Well, not she's the master, but just one of the promoters of them. And then the stuff you can break down. A lot of what we do, this is so fascinating, a lot of what we do is actually just feed bacteria. Like, we actually consume energy for the bacteria, not actually for us. Sometimes people forget about that part. Roughly half of our immune system is bacteria and not our actual like white blood cells. And a good example of this is like, when you have cravings, like sugar cravings. That's not you, that's actually those are the bacteria. Because bacteria can't break down fats or anything complex, right? Because it's a one-cell organism generally. So it can only really break down like sugar. And it's something simple like that, which is why if you like consume a high-fat diet, I'm trying not to sound so biased. You're more optimal, is all I'm gonna say.
You're more optimal. you become Optimus Prime.
Yeah, you become Optimus Prime. Yeah. A lot of very, very simple sugars are gonna feed your bacteria, good and bad. So that's a whole different conversation. It's like what's good bacteria, what's bad bacteria, right? You know, because you said bacteria is like, keeping you alive, immune system, right?
Right.
Now that we're on the subject, you know what? Screw it. I'll cover it.
Right,
digestion.
There we go. Boom.
So with digestion, our relationship with the bacteria is so key, and this is something that's getting popular more this recent years. But it's like people aren't aware of this, but the mushroom relationship with the tree. A lot of trees, especially in older forest, have a lot of mushrooms around it. And essentially, the mushrooms evolve with the tree. Actually, in a way, it kind of helps the tree evolve because a tree, like a redwood, can be around for 1,000 years if nothing cuts it down or messes with it or kills it, right? So think about that. That means your evolution is like the fantasy elves, right? You live that long, how can you evolve to overcome new things, new bacteria, new diseases, new viruses, right? You can't evolve because you already exist and you can't pass on to that seedling, right? Or in our situation, our offspring. So they have this symbiotic relationship with mushrooms. Mushrooms become its evolutionary partnership. Mushrooms they can evolve instantly, right? They don't even go through a growth pattern. They just kind of do mitosis, and there's oh, that's a new me, and that's a new me, and that's a new me, and then it becomes a structure essentially, right? So that's a fungus. So the fungus becomes its immune system. The fungus becomes its protector against insects and against new bacteria. And what it does in return is it gets fed by the tree, right? It grows on the tree, and the tree's all right, cool, dude. Here's water. Here's protection. Here's nutrients from the tree itself. And that's kind of our relationship with our gut bacteria. I mean, there's three forms. We have skin bacteria, gut bacteria. For ladies, it's vaginal bacteria. That's really important for offspring. And our oral bacteria. So those are the big four. And the relationship with those levels of those type of bacteria kind of dictate how healthy you are. In fact, they've done this is the most fascinating study I think in the world, where they grab roughly about 15 obese people and then give them all of them the same gut flora. So in a crass way, shit pills from a very healthy, athletic, badass dude, right? Just all on badass, and they give them to all of them. They all saw results, 100% across the board. Lost weight, felt better, over months of time.
Just from having
new gut flora. The gut flora came in. They had to put them on a specific diet to wipe out their old gut flora, so that way there's a way to. So they could introduce these new colonies essentially. Yeah. And those new colonies would trigger healthy hunger cravings, right? More vegetable cravings.
Oh, really?
It would trigger. Yeah, it would increase your immune system because they're stronger. It would metabolize certain foods quicker, right? They were like, what the hell? That's how strong gut flora is. That's what I want to get across. It's they didn't all get in perfect health and like that, but they all saw positive results, which is phenomenal in the research world. So when I think about digestion, I actually think about gut flora, how healthy am I with my gut bacteria? And then you can do the exact opposite. You have one fast food, essentially, one round of fast food, and it carries with all these diseases and stuff, and it depends on what kind of environment it is, or anyways, there's a lot of examples of this, and just look them up because I got a little dead brain here. And you introduce that new colonies, and not only did you introduce a new colony, but you also feed that colony what it likes. Sugar is a good example of things that usually negative bacteria like. That bacteria, and you give it that, and then it just boom, it blows up, and then
it's really not about the food you're eating; it's about the bacteria you're introducing
and what you're feeding it,
Yeah. And then it starts to crave, and therefore you start to crave.
Because generally, and this isn't something I've seen, but this is kind of my own hypothesis, is that the good bacteria has a symbiotic relationship with you, so it can adapt to more complex forms of energy, like maybe a carbohydrate or glucose or something like that. So you break it down, you kind of give it to it, and it thrives. So when you go on a ketosis diet, you have a flourishing of good bacteria, and all the bad bacteria generally just dies off. And that's something to keep in mind, because if you have a lot of sugar cravings, that means you have a massive flora of bad bacteria, and they can't do complex carbohydrates.
That's why if someone would start to eat healthy, or whatever let's just say they eat the food that they're wanting for
the results.
The results that they want, right? Okay. So someone's doing that, and they start eating a certain way, and that becomes a habit. In their mind, they would almost think that it was a habit, not really realizing that it was also the bacteria that they were taking in that was also kind of helping them build and create that habit as well, when those cravings.
I would say it's both, yeah.
Yeah, it's both.
It's both. It's definitely it is exactly a symbiotic relationship. Okay. I would like to think that the easiest ROI is to manipulate your gut bacteria, because it'll give you those initial cravings, it'll give you those initial positive benefits. But then over time, then you wire yourself neurologically, right, to do those things.
So
it's a nice balance.
It's a kickstarter for your gut. How would one change their gut bacteria or their gut flora, as you put it?
I think the easiest, or not the easiest, I think the most optimal one for all diet styles across the board, because I try to be pretty biased when it comes to diet approaches, is do J.J. Virgin's elimination diet, where she's a nutritionist out of Hollywood, and she works with pretty high profile people.
Right.
And she does is take 7 specific types of inflammatory foods out of your diet. So gluten, corn, peanuts, soy, alcohol, I believe artificial sweeteners is on there, and that plus, and I'm not sure if it's on the list, it might be, but also taking out sugar out of your diet, right? And you eliminate that for about a month. And then what you do is you reintroduce it one at a time to see if it makes you feel horrible or not, right? And if it makes you feel horrible, you're like, okay, I'm obviously sensitive to that. Let's not have as much of that as possible, right?
Okay.
This is how Ginny knows, my girlfriend, that to not have gluten. Like, she like instantly looks like she's like 3 months pregnant, like she's like little bulge in the bottom of her stomach, and she just feels groggy, right? And I feel bad too when I consume it. I don't get the bump, but I do get like a little worn down. Start with that, and then see how that makes you feel. And also, getting rid of the sugar is kind of a purge. It's like the purge, except in your intestinal tract.
Because by not providing more sugar,
they die
the
off.
bacteria die off, and then they stop craving it because they're dead.
Because they're dead.
Okay.
So another thing that resurgence that's been popular is like kimchi, kombucha, all these fermented drinks and foods, and that's because they introduce healthy bacteria into your diet.
Oh yeah, the cabbage or whatever.
Yeah, it's kimchi. Yep.
Okay. And what did you say? The other one?
Kombucha?
Okay.
That's why that one got popular as well.
What about probiotics? I see that a lot. I actually take some, so it'd be good to hear what you think about. I have a couple of...
Actually, that's tricky.
Yeah.
Because probiotic means that you're feeding your gut flora. Problem is you don't know what gut flora you have in there, so they could all be thriving. I don't want to...
Make sure you have the right ones in there.
Like lactobacillus is probably the most common one today.
Probiotics or almond milk or any of these nut milks. There's just so many fads out
there. Hey, I like my nut milk.
Great, man. I'm glad you like them too. I mean, I enjoy almond milk as well.
Califia Farms toasted coconut milk.
Toasted coconut.
I've had it for the last couple of years. It's seriously better than any milk I've ever had in my entire life. I mean, it's not milk, of course, but
I'll listen.
It's so good. So good. Actually, a friend of mine, she got her daughter just stopped craving milk, dairy milk, and had her switched over to that, and she's obsessed with it. She thinks so her tastes like toasted marshmallow.
Sounds amazing.
Or that's melted marshmallows. So now she's like, hey, can I have a melted marshmallow drink? And she's like, how do you think they make this? And then she's like, they melt marshmallows. That's what he tells her daughter.
Cool, man. Well, this has been what it had.
This has been.
We got a lot of information and a lot of branches to travel down later. So keep tuning in.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. Check out at RxFitCo on Instagram. That's usually where we put all our information on. Or Facebook, same thing. Okay. And Benny is at Instagram of something. Just look up Benny on Instagram.
A lot of wrist stretches.
That's what he's doing. He's actually doing this. He doesn't think about anything.
He's stretching his wrist.
And then he's like looking into his brain what he's thinking about, and he's like, I'm just I'm just trying to stretch my wrist. Yeah. And I was like, you're bringing us praise and grace.